We started all the way back in October at the beginning, brainstorming ideas and trying to compile a list of possible names. We went back to our various locations and to the community and asked for them to submit as many proposals as we could also, trying to get a really big working list to go from for our next meeting, October 19th. Then we took our large list. We had posters all around the room at the Sparing Library, where we went around and we talked about the reason and rationale behind some of the choices that were up there and gave everybody a chance to kind of explain what things we were looking for and what each of those names represented and meant. We narrowed things down to a manageable survey amount at that meeting. And then Dr. Sparks sent out a Google form to get feedback from the community on the names that we selected there, as well as some of the wording issues. And then we met again after the surveys had come in to review the feedback, kind of look at the positives and negatives that people had mentioned for each possible name, as well as looked at the different interactions between words like school versus center versus institution to see if we could piece together the best possible name. And this month has been a whirlwind. December 1st seems like just yesterday, but here we are with our chosen name, and I'm going to turn it over to Sarah now and let her talk about some of the parameters that our committee decided on.
Okay, so first we needed to discuss parameters. Oh, sorry, next slide. And before I get into our thought process, I wanted to clarify that the sustainable, relevant, and relatable that you see up there, those were district expectations, while the bullet points were all committee determined. So as I mentioned, the district had some boundaries set to keep the name timeless, connecting to Lindbergh, and the programs of LEAP and PEGS. Then we get into some of parameters that the committee had set. First, we wanted to make the name stand alone. So as he mentioned, have school, center, academy, institute, anything like that in the name. And then in the next couple bullet points, it just details what was already said about connecting to the district so people know it's a part of Lindbergh. After that, we really stressed the fact that it shouldn't connect to intelligence and giftedness. We instead wanted to focus on the goals and attributes of both programs, which just happens to be the next bullet point. This one is also really important because I know a lot of people who don't know what happens in LEAP and PEGS, and the name could get the point across. Next slide, please. So with those parameters in mind, we brainstormed 43 ideas that you can see were eventually narrowed down to 5. Compass Center, Globe Center, Horizon School, Idea School, and Launchpad Institute. Keep in mind, we were still playing with the use of school, center, institute, academy, all those words. So these could be changed if we wanted them to be. After that, a survey was sent out to gifted families, including the rationale of every name, and they could even type all their thoughts. Next slide.
All right, so to talk about the feedback, we got feedback from 374 different members of the community. That was everyone, as mentioned, from LEAP students to parents to teachers from grades 1 through 12 throughout the district. There was clearly first a very strong preference for the use of the word center versus school, academy, or institute. So that right off the bat meant that we kind of eliminated those other words from the mixture. So we went into it thinking that it would be a center of some kind. Most popular by far were the Compass Center and Idea School, or variations of that. Those were pretty evenly rated amongst those, and like I said, far above the other choices. Some of the negatives that came up about those two, Compass Center and Idea School, there was a lot of feedback that Compass was very historic sounding, that there could have been the idea of it meaning you were lost. Also similarities to other programs that exist, both businesses in the area, programs within Lindbergh. And then as far as IDEA or IDEA, there was conversation about whether or not that should be an acronym or could be an acronym. And there was a pretty mixed feeling about whether or not that should be the direction. Some people really liked the idea of acronym, but a lot of people were very strong against. And I think most importantly, there was a lot of potential for confusion with the special education law, the IDEA. So taking all of those things into account, we kind of mixed up the words that we had used before and then made our recommendation. You can move forward to the next slide. So our recommendation for the name is to be called the Idea Center, using IDEA as a word, not an acronym, and using the word center as described before. The committee felt that IDEA really gives a clear picture of the type of learning that's happening in the space compared to some of the other names that could be applicable to any kind of program or any other facility in the area. That IDEA really gives a clear understanding of what's going on in LEAP and PEGS. It is not an acronym. Again, the use of the word idea, though, could be themed from year to year, kind of focusing on that I in idea. It could be innovation, imagination, invention, and those sorts of things, leaving some latitude for the teachers within the program to, establish whatever that might be for the year or the semester, along with that kind of I idea. And then you can see there on the screen what it looks like in the Lindbergh font. So that is our recommendation, and you can move to the next slide. If there's any questions, we're happy to answer them.
I just want to commend you guys on the process here. I think that it's important that everybody has buy-in for something like this, and it's going to be such a great new center that I just really think it's great that you had parents, students, and teachers and everybody involved in coming up with this.
I was just going to say, I can't wait to see the spirit wear for the Idea Center.
I just want to say thank you for coming tonight and presenting and for being on the committee. I know Christy and I attended the meetings as well, and I felt it was a very collaborative process, and I think everyone was very careful to really read through the feedback and really consider all of the positives and negatives for the name suggestions. So thank you for your time. Anyone else? All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. 11.03, review of board policies. We have the first reading of 14 board policies this evening. Please review and contact Dr. McKenney with any questions, and we will bring them back next month to seek approval. We have no other reports this evening, and 12.0 citizen communication regarding non-agenda items, there are none. 13.0 recess, we have already conducted our executive session, so there is no need, and we will move to 15.0 adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn board meeting 1565? Motion by Mike.
Second.
Second by Matt. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 7-0.